Alright. So, things are pretty bad right now. Like, if we're just looking at our overall industry, yeah, things are pretty bad. Death of Pius the 11th. All Christendom mourns. We're getting, some pretty bad stuff happening. Alright, we funded this institute. Mass desertion. As the rebellion grows by the day, many soldiers of the former Belgian army have deserted and joined forces with the rebellion. Well armed, they may pose a significant threat. Ask for German reinforcements. Let's see. Romania, something, Carpathians. Civilian factory construction speed. 250% research bonuses for industry. Let's do this because this gets us a factory quicker. A special commission consisting of representatives from all the large industries and members of the government will be created and convened to find a solution for a predicament. And it is indeed quite a predicament. So let's do it. Creation of the Banking Committee. In an effort to stop the catastrophic impact that Black Monday is having on the Flemish Wallonian banks, the government has proposed the creation of a banking commission to oversee the crisis recovery and stop the economy from imploding. While this is guaranteed to be opposed by German bank managers who see this as an effort by the Flemish Wallonian government to diminish their influence, desperate times call for desperate measures. We're gonna pass this unanimously. Because we don't care what the Germans think. We got bikes. We got bikes, motherfuckers. Motherfucking bikes. Why is this guy red? We're going to put him in his own little thing here. That is a large army. First International. Interesting development. St. Peter has a new occupant, Pius the 12th. We are just falling deeper and deeper into the hole of political power. That is definitely one thing that, like, I think separates Kaiserreich from Vanilla Hearts of Iron in a pretty significant gameplay sense, is that Hearts of Iron, Vanilla Hearts of Iron, it's like every country that has a focus tree is kind of set up that, like, you can steer them to have at least a a nominal level of success and stability from the very beginning of the game. Kaiserreich, certain countries are just like, it's 1936 and fuck you. Hopefully you can dig yourself out of this hole. Due to rising tensions in the industrial city of Antwerp, a new resistance movement has been detected by our intelligence services. They are called the Geusengruppe and seem to have group. Is that pronounced the same as a U umlaut in German? Geusengruppe, and seem to have gathered a lot of supporters around the harbor area, rallying the populace behind their cause. They seem to work mostly underground, though, and as such, there seems to be no more intel about either their members or their leader. Let's keep a close eye on them. So, let's see, we're still lacking a little bit of oil, some aluminum, and some rubber. That's not bothering me too much. -5. Production, and all of our other production's going pretty well. Yeah. Support for independence grows. As the different factions keep growing, there will soon be a choice that might decide the future of our country. For the moment, there is little contact between the Walloon rebels and the Flemish. It might be in our best interest to keep the situation separated until we can crack down on the rebellion. We can't spare the resources at the moment. Also, we want everyone to rebel together. You don't want Wallonia to split off as its own thing. Loss of the 20th Train Convoy. After the capture of a large terrorist cell trying to breach the von Blissing Kaserne in Mechelen, the commander has decided to transport the prisoners to a safer location closer to the main bulk of the army. 276 prisoners were put on the train convoy called the 20th Train Convoy, accompanied by a convoy of 15 soldiers and their officer. They left for Leuven. However, between Boertierbeek, I think that's like a long A sound if I'm not mistaken, and Hacht, the train was stopped by 3 young men who, under fire from German forces, opened the prison train and allowed 168 of the prisoners to escape before the Germans regained control of the train. Alright. I'm having a feeling that the German sympathizers are going to get kicked out on their asses. It seems like a tough play to remain with the German sympathizers. May Day. On the 1st of May, the Syndicalists celebrate the fight for the 8-hour workday as described by the Second Internationale in 1889. Despite the rebellion raging on throughout Belgium, many Syndicalists see this day as sacred and guerrilla strikes will be less fierce today. This could be an opportunity to organize a counterattack. I think we're going to install a curfew, which will make the Syndicalists more popular. All right. What do we know about these borders? We see the fort level 0 out of 10. Eindhoven. So there's some heavy urban areas here that'll be hard to fight through. It doesn't look like they've really made any effort to fortify it yet. Alright, we got some machine tools. We're going to go with concentrated industry. Risk the bombing threat. Oh man, these bikes. Just you wait. Just you Germans wait until our bike army is ready to go. Okay. Invest in the Sillon Industrielle. To combat the rising unemployment and spread of syndicalism in the Walloon province of Liège, a large expansion of the civilian industry around the provincial capital has been proposed. Hell yeah. We need all the factories we can get. Any factory now would be a 20% increase in our total industrial output. Najd is annexing shit. And they've formed Saudi Arabia. Under good old Abdulaziz. It's not necessarily good, depending on your perspective. I guess we could have been doing bike push-ups to get some army experience, but I don't really want to use up equipment that we don't really have. Yeah, we got a pretty decent stockpile of infantry equipment. We're hurting for almost everything else, though. Electoral gridlock in Britain. How about that? Just don't pick Mosley. As long as they don't pick Mosley, we can be friends. Maybe. Grupa G. While our forces were engaged in Wallonia, a devastating terrorist attack was launched on the electrical train network by the infamous Grupa G. They are a resistance movement composed almost entirely of students from the ULB, Free University of Brussels. Encouraged by the protest at the universities of Ghent and Leuven, a group of engineering students from the ULB prepared a nationwide attack on the railroad system. This was the first time an attack occurred in both Flanders and Wallonia by the same group. We will have to stay wary of further cooperation between the two regions. Track down those students.
Good job, students. You're actually doing what we want.
Armee Secrete Geheimlager. Reports have reached us that the deserting forces are gathering in the villages around Popperinga. They seem to rally as close as possible to the French border, making large-scale troop movements by us difficult. Charlie Classer, leader of this movement, has started to expand the group very fast, exceeding our expectations. They are, however, in contrast to the other groups, a secret army with a chain of command and armed to the teeth. It will not be easy to crack them down, and we will have to keep a close eye on them. Station a small brigade to keep them in check. While we were trying to counter the Walloon syndicalists and had to withdraw some of our forces out of Flanders, the Flemish decided to work more underground in recruiting members into their movement. Priests have tried to convince their parochians to take up arms and liberate the nation, while rebels in the cities have diffused illegal newspapers and propaganda to enlist as many as possible. The recruited rebels, guided by experienced veterans from both the army and veterans from the Weltkrieg, also performed small coordinated raids against German transports and have been able to acquire quite the armory. It's not yet clear what they are up to, but it would be wise to reinforce our control over Flanders. Risking loss of control elsewhere. So we can fall back, which fucks over our industry but gives us political power. Let's see. So we can fall back into the cities, basically. Fall back just into Flemish Brabant, which gives us more political power. We'll reinforce all the provinces. I think we're going to fall back into Flemish Brabant. Let the other cities go. Alright. Industry. A little ahead of time on that. Let's... What improves our bikes? Is there a tree for bikes that just makes us have really good bikes? Grand battle plan, are you fucking kidding me? For a small nation like us, we're definitely known with superior firepower. Do we just have modified French units, or did they actually make Belgian unit models? Those look somewhat different, but it might just be a recoloring of the French models. Italian majority. Mokhlik has declared war on Mongolia. I have a feeling that's not going to go well for them. Nope, well, nope. The 11th of July will always be remembered as a great victory over the French army at the Goldensporenschlag. On this day, an inferior Flemish army defeated French knights. This victory marked an important point in the creation of the independent Flemish movement and has been immortalized in the Roman by De Leeuw van Vlaanderen and by Hendrik Conscience. With the temporary retreat of the German forces, the Flemish resistance memorializes, I think it's supposed to say, this day, and has proclaimed the 11th of July a national holiday. Okay. Social conservatives and paternal autocrats increase their support. Who do the paternal autocrats want? I guess it's Joris von Severen. I guess he's a native Flemish autocrat. Walloons hear of Flemish victories. After the victories of the Flemish resistance over the German forces, the Walloons now have the opportunity to decide whether or not to work together with the Flemish for a unified Belgium or seek affiliation with the Commune of France. The syndicalists are inclined towards joining the Commune and helping spread the socialist revolution. On the other hand, the Royalists would prefer to work together with the Flemish to unify the country and reinstate the king. After days of frenzied discussion, the doors to the headquarters finally open and the decision is announced. We are going to approach our Flemish brethren and try to rebuild Belgium. Don't worry, those of you that have been waiting for another commie Hearts of Iron playthrough. That is definitely going to happen. It's just not going to be this playthrough because I don't want to be the guy that always does communist playthroughs, even though I'm sort of inclined to. But let's see. After the proposal to the German government failed, the Flemish have now received a deal from the Walloon movement. They asked the Flemish to work together with them to ensure independence for all Belgium and to reinstate the king. Alright, unity is strength. It also increased the popularity of syndicalists, so that's kind of cool as well. Not a big fan of social conservatives. Grew up around a lot of them. Very low popularity, alright. Not surprising. Alright, we invested in the thing. Civilian factory and steel is definitely good. And we can't do an army focus yet. So yeah, we're gonna... To bolster our industrial expansion, we'll need to expand the steel mills to reduce our dependence on German steel. Definitely a worthy goal. We only have one working factory right now. United Baltic Duchy declared war on the Kingdom of Estonia and Latvia. Hainaut attacks. After the Flemish and Walloons made their pact to unify Belgium, they launched an assault on the German administration offices in Mons and secured the governor and his family. They are now held hostage, and the rebels are demanding the withdrawal of German forces from Hainaut. We have surrounded the building and are ready to move if necessary. The chances of extracting the governor... is it Hainaut? I'm assuming that's probably the French part of Belgium, so it's probably Hainaut. That doesn't look like a Germanic name. Chance of extracting the governor successfully are slim, but we could resecure the building and reinforce it against further attacks to tighten our grip. We'll have to give in. Mechanical computing. Alright. Suppose we should get some better support weapons, huh? Need bike-mounted machine guns. Poland elects a new king. Good for them. Add some additional coke to this whiskey and coke that I'm drinking. With renewed forces and help from Wallonia, the Flemish resistance has successfully begun pushing into Antwerp. Fighting in the streets immediately ensued, and for 3 days there appeared to be no clear winner. The strategic situation changed when a tank depot fell to the Flemish forces, and the Germans retreated to the east side of the city. Simultaneously, a push was orchestrated towards Boom and Dendermonde, ensuring the liberation of most of Antwerp province. Fallen back to Brussels. Deutsch Ostasien has declared war on the Indo-Chinese Union. After our defeat at Mons and in return for the governor, we have fallen back into Brussels, where we have dug ourselves in. Any Walloon resistance will have to deal with our fortified position and prepared troops. The Walloons are everywhere. They're everywhere, I tell ya. The Walloons have set up a perimeter around Brussels, but appear not to be planning to immediately attack. They may be trying to secure Flanders first before moving against our troops' positions in the city. Alright, I know some people who know a lot of Kaiserreich lore watch these videos. I know there are also some people on the Kaiserreich dev team who watch these videos, who comment on our stuff on Twitter every once in a while. What I'm curious about in this scenario, if I'm understanding how this is playing out correctly, is why would Germany not just send a bunch of forces in to stop the rebels immediately? Like, why would they not? I mean, are they worried about igniting another conflict, like another open conflict with the commune? Or, you know, why exactly is it that they wouldn't just step in to stop this? Because it seems like if I'm Germany, I have a pretty vested interest in stopping this. I mean, they already have, you know, a couple dozen divisions at least stationed in our country on the map, you know, outside of event land. So yeah, I'm curious why that is exactly. We must be cautious. I'm really enjoying this though. I love all these little events. And the kind of unfolding story that's happening here. I also really like this music mod. I wish I had downloaded this earlier. I'm also hoping that it's all public domain music, because I forgot to check. And if we get copyright strikes against these videos, we might have to demonetize them. But we will see. Oh man, we have kind of a straight shot to Cone if we once we actually do start fighting the Germans, which I'm assuming inevitably we eventually will. Flemish forces approach the capital. Okay, so the Walloons set up a perimeter, and now the Flemish have arrived. With their victories on Antwerp and the retreat of the German forces out of Limburg, we're left with only Brussels and Wallonia. As the movement keeps winning, they gather more support, and by now they heavily outnumber us. The only forces we have left are the division located in Brussels and 2 in Wallonia. We will have to make an important decision which will decide the fate of the country. Will we retreat into Germany, thus abandoning Belgium, or will we dig in and try to hold out as long as we can, hoping that Germany may recover quickly enough for us to support it? Okay, so the answer to my previous question might be because Black Monday. Germany just doesn't have the resources to spare right now. We're going to evacuate. German forces evacuate Belgium. On September 13th, 1936, at 2:37 p.m. in the Royal Palace, the former King Adalbert signed the formal ceasefire treaty, resulting in his immediate abdication, the withdrawal of all German forces from his former territory, and a truce between the reborn nation of Belgium and the German Empire. Hundreds of thousands of men, women, and children have come out into the streets waving the Belgian flag, chanting the Brabançon and Brabançonne. I'm very bad at French. And celebrating the nation's regained independence. It is truly a great day for Belgium. Long live Belgium. Vive la Belgique. Yeah, all good stuff. All right. So we should change to a different government now. Maybe at the end of the month. After a victory over the German occupiers, the provisional government has decided to reinstate the Belgian flag to bolster morale and show the world that Belgium is free once more. Hoisted atop the Royal Palace, the flag waves proudly in the wind. Okay, so we're now known as Belgium. We are now officially playing Kaiserreich Belgium. We've fulfilled the obligation. German Empire gets Belgium Revolution event. We get 300 political power. We get the independent Belgium National Focus Tree, which apparently is a new focus tree. And Adalbert stops being a field marshal. Because he can go to hell and die. Sick of German oppression and the disaster of Black Monday, Belgian independence movements throughout the country have been revolting and performing guerrilla strikes on the German army. Due to their own recovery, the German Empire has been unable to support Adalbert I to the fullest and has let the situation escalate beyond their control. After coordinated strikes by the independence army on the cities of Mons and Antwerp, they were finally able to push the Flanders-Wallonian army back to Brussels, where, after fierce fighting, the German king surrendered. With no clear answer yet from the German Empire, many fear that an independent Belgium might be short-lived, especially with tensions between the Empire and the Commune of France rising and the strategic location of the country. Good luck, Belgium. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. We're still authoritarian democrat government, but we can select a new focus now. So we keep all this stuff. We didn't lose any of the things we already researched. We can no longer do the auxiliary force, which is fine because we weren't going to anyway. However, it did cancel this one that we were partway through already. That's okay, though, because we need to hold elections. Our independence has finally been achieved, and free elections have been written out by the provisionary government to decide the direction of our country. Increase in stability. Fantastic. And we also need a new field marshal. Except we don't have enough command power, so we're going to go without a field marshal for a little while. Treaty of Arlon. Deep in the Ardennes, in the city of Arlon, German and Belgian representatives have gathered to discuss the future relations between the two countries. Multiple proposals have been put on the table by both sides until finally an agreement was reached. Belgium would stay in the Reichspakt and help the German Empire in its wars in exchange for Luxembourg and full recognitions of its sovereignty. I will take it. Luxembourg is a juicy state. Has steel, which is always good. While the German delegation can be persuaded to recognize our independence, all requests for the turn of Belgium-Luxembourg have thus far been swept off the table. Wait a sec. In exchange for Luxembourg, Belgium will only accept in exchange for Luxembourg. Let's do it. Just screw those guys. Oh, the treaty fails. So we gain claims on German Wallonia, on Luxembourg, and we remove the national spirit Middle Europa. Which, what was that doing for us? Nothing, I guess. Oh, end of American democracy. MacArthur has seized power. This is troubling. Let's see what's going to happen over here. Got about 3 minutes left before I've got to end this recording session. But man, I'm having a good time with this, and we haven't even technically fired a shot yet. I mean, narratively there's been a whole revolution that's happened. The German pretender has been ousted, and the provisionary government has called for formal elections to be held. 2 separate ballots will have to be cast, firstly deciding on which type of government the state will embrace, and secondly, which parties will lead us through these troubling times. King Adalbert I, residing in Canada, is watching events at home with great interest as the people decide on whether or not he may return. The Liberal and Socialist parties are, however, not so keen on his return, and are hoping that the people opt for a more democratic state ruled for and by the people. I don't know, and you know what? I'm going to leave it up to the comments. This episode should air on Wednesday, so I'll hold off on recording Friday's episode until I've heard from the fine folks in the comments. What do you think we should do? Should we bring back the king, reinstate the monarchy, or should we reform Belgium into a republic? That is the question that stands before us. U.S. Civil War hasn't kicked off yet. Not a whole lot of border changes happened so far. The Mokleek are fighting the Mongolians. I'll be interested to see how that goes. If our boy, I'm blanking on his name right now, Ungern Sternberg, if he's gonna go full Genghis, or if the Mokleek is gonna put a stop to that. So yeah, let us know what we should choose in the comments, and Loresworn.com is our website, at Loresworn Order on Twitter. I am at AsaTJ, that is ASATJ Alpha Sierra Alpha Tango Juliet. Excited to be starting a new series, excited to be back to Kaiserreich, doing some more Hearts of Iron, as has been hotly requested. Hearts of Iron in general, but Kaiserreich Belgium specifically by Moleman on our comments section. So just know that with your persistence has been rewarded, and we've given you your humble request. And this is going to be our new regular series for Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the next little bit here. We'll see you next time.